I was really desperate for a boyfriend. Haven't we all been there? Like, I was 20 years old and I had never had a boyfriend. Oh my god, I get you now. I was a shy girl who grew up in a small town where dating options were limited. So I spent most of my time trying to find and so on online dating sites. I met few people, but being paranoid about the whole meeting in real life thing prevented me from ever asking any out on a date. Then I met Mike. Mike seemed perfect. He was my age, we shared the same interest, and we had the same sense of humor. Our conversations quickly moved on from OkCupid chat rooms to texting to actually talking on the phone. Oh, wow. We did phone chats for about a month, through which I learned he was a medical student. He owned his own IT computer repair shop and had his own apartment. At the end of the month, he finally convinced me to meet him in real life. Damn. I think they are all lies. He doesn't have shit, but let's see. For our date, we arranged to meet for lunch in the food court of a mall, then go see a movie. I didn't tell my friends or family. Whoa, big mistakes. Always tell them. Always. It's about your safety. Where I was going because I was embarrassed to admit I was going on an OkCupid date. Oh, girl. So I tried to make our date setting as public as possible. Yeah, this is very good. It ended up being one of the best dates of my life. Girl, it's your only date, chill. Sorry. We got so involved in our conversation that we missed the movie and ended up walking around inside the mall till it got dark. How convenient for him! He wanted to head out to the parking lot to sit in his car. Oh, I don't like that. And continue the discussion, but it was getting late and I had to get home, so I passed. Good. I couldn't wait for our next date. I wanted a boyfriend so badly, and I couldn't remember the last time I had felt this way about a guy. So I eagerly agreed for his plans for our next date. We were going to meet at his apartment for dinner. I naively thought that since I had already met him once, I didn't need to worry about telling anyone, girl. I'd be out with him that night. After what came next, I never made that mistake again. I was on my way to his place on the evening of our date when he texted me that he was working late at his computer repair shop and asked if I could come and meet him there instead. The address he texted for his shop was about 2 hours away from the address he had given me for his apartment. But I was already on the road and I was desperate to make this work, so I didn't mind. Oh, babe. The first red flag went off when I arrived. His shop was a tiny one room building not far off from a shack. I'm scared. Ugh. It's serial killer vibes. It was on a woodsy residential street outside of town and had no sign. How convenient for him. Inside the shack, it was even worse. Computer parts were scattered all over the floor. Nothing looked client facing, and the carpet reeked of smoke and weed. He was a chill guy. He also didn't look like he was working at all. He was sitting with a group, oh my god, with a group of older men who looked to be in their 40s, passing around the pipe. He introduced them as his friends. We hung out with them for about 20 minutes, during which none of them spoke to me or acknowledged me. That's good. After passing the pipe around a couple of times, Mike offered to drive me to his apartment. I told him I could drive myself, but he insisted he drive because he only had one parking spot. I reluctantly, reluct, I barely agreed, reminding myself that our first date went great, so I could trust him. At first, I couldn't even tell it was an apartment. We had arrived in a parking lot of a small hair salon called Salon True, closed for the night, which had plenty of empty parking spaces. He showed me to a door beneath the salon which led to the basement of the building. Bro. Inside was a medium sized cement room what the fuck? With nothing but an industrial sink, a pair of weighted dumbbells, a foam mat, and no windows. The only decoration he had was a bobblehead of a character from a show. I told him I had liked that looked brand new. I would have considered the idea that maybe he was struggling financially and had lied about everything because he was embarrassed about his financial situation. But then I saw the giant flat screen TV and DV camera up against the wall. He closed the door behind us, and I watched helplessly as he closed the door, the abnormal number of locks on it. He must be been seen my fear because he quickly assured me that the reason he had so many locks was because the hairdresser upstairs hated him for no reason. Maybe you kill people and that's why she hates you. I don't know. And had tried to enter his apartment on multiple occasions. Bitch, please. At this point, every possible alarm was going off in my head. I was locked in a basement with no car. And no one knew where I was. This is how I imagine. You fucking said it in your head. I didn't even know where I was. Yeah, if you call for help, we were like, I don't know where I am. Like, the fuck? But there was one thing I could still try. He walked across the room, his back towards me, and bent down to pick one of the weighted dumbbells. While his back was turned, I pulled my iPhone slightly out of my pocket and booted up a game that had a song that sounded like a ringtone, then shoved it back in my pocket. When he turned it back to look at me, the phone in my pocket appeared to be ringing. I answered the phone, pretending it was my dad, and faked that phone conversation like my life depended on it. My dad was mad at me for being out so late and demanded to know where I was. I told him the name of the salon and the name of the town we were in. I made it seem like he knew exactly where Salon True was. He told me to come home immediately or he would come and get me. When I hung up, Mike was already unlocking the door. We got in his car and he drove back to the computer shop much faster than before. He dropped me off at my car, apologized and said he will text me about our next date. I had never been more happy to be back in my own car. Oh, girl, you dodged a fucking bullet. A few days later, he hadn't contacted me yet. So I tried, bro, you tried calling him? How about calling the police for him being shady as fuck? For an explanation. Yeah, why did you want it to kill me? Like, why? His service had been disconnected later that day. You don't say. I told the story to my good friend Eric and tried to bring up Mike's OkCupid profile page, but that had been deleted too. However, bro, he wanted you as a victim. However, I was lame. And when we were calling each other regularly, I had his OkCupid picture saved on my phone and his contact picture. I showed it to Eric and he recognized Mike immediately. Oh! My friend Eric was a student employee at the IT department in his university who helped other students with computer issues. Eric and Mike would come in frequently to get viruses taken off his laptop, viruses that often looked like they were from really sketchy corn sites, and his name wasn't Mike. Eric was able to use info he had gathered about this guy from the IT department ticketing system to look him up on the school database. Turns out he wasn't a med student at all, no shit. He was older than he said he was. He had dropped out of the school this semester, and since he had to bring his laptop to another student to get fixed, he clearly did not own an IT computer repair business. I'm glad we never met again. I'm glad too, girl, but because what the actual flack.